No Child of Mine, written by Susan Lewis, read by Julia Franklin. The moral right of the author has been asserted. Hello, and who are you? The little girl's deep brown eyes stared unblinkingly at Alex Lake. She seemed almost ethereal, Alex was thinking, as she stooped down in front of the swing, as though she might have stepped from an impressionist painting. Her creamy cheeks were smudged with tiny rosettes of colour, and the wiry cloud of dark hair that rose and dipped in whimsical curls made her seem so delicate and perfect. How old was she? Alex wondered. 3? 4? Definitely closer to 3. What's your name? Alex asked with a friendly smile. The child didn't answer, simply continued to stare into Alex's eyes and clutch the chains of the box swing. Her legs were dangling over the tarmac, too short to reach it, so she was unable to make herself rock back and forth, and there didn't appear to be anyone close by to push it. There was a hypnotic quality about her that Alex was sure she'd felt even before she'd spotted her. It was what had pulled her attention from the children she was with, her niece and nephew, who were still a few yards away, swishing gleefully down the slide into their mother's arms. "My name's Alexandra," she told the little girl, "but most people call me Alex." The girl blinked, and Alex smiled at the slowness of it, and felt strangely moved by the fine blue lines in her lids, and the extravagant curl of her lashes. Her mother, or nanny, must be one of a group of young women sitting on the grass nearby. The instant she spotted a stranger talking to her child, she'd no doubt come running, fighting down panic, and appalled with herself for having turned away even for a moment. A moment was often all it took. "She's very shy, I'm afraid." Alex looked up to find a man smiling down at her. With the sun behind him, she couldn't make out his features, but he was dressed in a lime-coloured polo shirt and khaki chinos, with a tan leather belt sitting just below his ample waist. He wasn't tall, maybe 5'8" at the most. As she stood up, she could see his neatly combed hair more clearly. His eyes, the shape of half-moons, though friendly, contained a look of wariness. Only to be expected from a parent who'd found a stranger talking to his child, she thought. "She's also very pretty," Alex said, wondering where he had suddenly come from. She hadn't noticed him anywhere, and there weren't many people around for him to get lost amongst. Then she spotted a woman sitting alone on a blanket several yards away, her hands buried in the grass behind her, her face turned up to the sun. Probably the mother, Alex decided. "Come along," he said, lifting the child off the swing and setting her on her feet. A small Paddington bear, with boots but no hat, fell to the ground. The little girl quickly picked it up and tucked it under one arm. When her head stayed down, Alex looked at the feathery curls and felt something stir deep inside her. A desire to scoop her up and make her laugh, the way she did with her sister's kids. There was also an awakening of unease that Alex didn't like at all. Something wasn't quite right with this child. She watched the little girl's hand go into the man's, a precious jewel slipping into a shell that completely engulfed it. The man's smile was affectionate and cheerful as he said, "Best get her home, I suppose," and turning her around, he began walking her away. Alex stood, watching them, expecting them to stop at the sun-worshipping woman, but they simply went straight past. A few yards further on, the little girl glanced over her shoulder, and feeling a catch in her heart, Alex lifted a hand to wave. Working in child protection could be a hazardous thing, making her see crimes where none were being committed. Or were they? "Shame on you," her sister Gabby teased, coming up behind her. Alex looked puzzled. "Trying to pick up a bloke by making friends with his kids?" Gabby explained with a nudge. Alex's smile was weak. Glamorous and vivacious though her sister was, her humour was often a bit off. Her gaze returned to the child and the man who'd almost reached the park gates by now. Surely she wasn't watching an abduction? No, it couldn't be possible.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?